One's your favorite? Allie, you gotta pick one. Pick one. Look at me. Hey, Allie. You're just gonna ignore me?
Yo, what's good, gamers? It's me, T-Shirt, and today we're going to be looking at 3 different GameCube controllers from 3 different companies to find out what's the best off-brand controller for Smash Bros. Ultimate. Alright, first up we got the Hori GameCube controller. I have the Legend of Zelda version. And the Hori GameCube controller is fairly typical for other USB controllers. It has the capture button and the home button. So it has all the functionality of a Pro controller, except it doesn't have motion control. So if you have a game that has motion control, this controller will not work for that. However, it has a turbo button, which in some tournaments makes this controller, you cannot use this controller whatsoever. If you're worried about that, check with your local tournaments that you go to. And just some notes from my experience of using this controller. The cable's plenty long. The shoulder buttons are analog, they're not triggers, so they're short travel distance. I actually really like that. However, some people, they just can't get used to it. And my only major gripe with this controller is that anytime you're using the analog movement stick, sometimes like trying to do approaching back airs, so like when you're running up and then you want to turn around and instantly do a back air, it just doesn't work as well on this controller as it does on other controllers. It could be the one I got in particular, but nonetheless, I always had the same problem. And whenever I switched to other controllers, didn't have the same issue. So overall, I'd say the Hori is a good starter controller. It's really cheap. If you can't afford some of the nicer controllers, I would definitely pick this one up. But it's gonna take more practice to get the movement exactly right. I'm not sure exactly what's different about it, but the movement isn't exactly the same as other controllers. And next up, we got the Wired Fight Pad Pro controller by PDP. I have the Luigi version. First off, the biggest thing about this controller is that it is substantially larger than other controllers. Now, it's not way bigger, but you will definitely feel a difference in your hand. It's heavier, more dense, everything. The buttons are further apart. It's just overall a bigger controller. So if you have big hands, something to consider. Another cool feature of this controller is that you can change out the analog sticks. So it comes with an extra one of these variants of the stick, and I just replaced it with the C stick just to try it out and see if I liked it better or not. When I did use this controller for a little bit, I did use it like this, having 2 control sticks. And I enjoyed having it like that, but I think actually having the standard C stick is probably better. Personal preference, but you can change them out. You could put the C stick over here if you really want to. It's something you can do. Other notes on this controller, also doesn't have motion controls. As I mentioned already, the travel distance is a little bit further between the buttons. It has the capture and home button. There's no turbo on this, so you don't have to worry about that. No turbo functions. The triggers are a little bit different. They're a little bit bigger, but they are still analog. Overall, this is a decent controller. I don't have much negative to say about it other than, and this is a big other than, this controller broke, I think, within 40 days of me buying it. So it was like right after the warranty expired. It could have been a fluke, but my friend who has the same controller, his also broke shortly after buying it, so I can't strongly recommend this controller. If you have bigger hands and you want to try this one since it's a little bit bigger, I'd give it a shot. Overall, though, would not recommend this controller. Alright, last but most certainly not least is the Power A Pro controller. That's not what it's called. Hang on. So the Power A wireless GameCube controller. This is the one I currently use right now. And really, it's everything I could have asked for. However, it is a little more pricey than any of the other controllers I've talked about today. But it is cheaper than an official Nintendo controller, even the wired ones. So I think personally that this is probably the best controller you can buy right now for Smash Bros. Ultimate, other than unless you prefer Pro controllers, which I'm not going to get into it. But this controller is not only wireless, which is a huge bonus. It has perfect sticks, no problem. The battery life is really long. It does take AA batteries, so if you don't like having batteries, which I totally get, that could be a downside. It's not like the traditional GameCube controllers. It does have both R and L buttons, and then the triggers are actually normal triggers. They're like ones from classic GameCube controllers. I mean, there's not much negative to say about it. It has, not only is it wireless, but it also has motion controls. It has all the buttons you need to play any of the games in the Nintendo Switch library. I use this for pretty much everything that I've played on the Switch, and hasn't failed me yet. Resounding recommendation. Definitely worth the extra $10 if you have it. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in any of the controllers shown in the video, there's links down in the description below. Feel free to click those, browse around. Also, make sure to check out my Smash Bros. Ultimate Let's Plays I have with my friends. They were live streamed on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/tshirtconnor. Check that out, follow. And thanks for watching. See you next time.